So it wasn't too long ago that I was shooting an event and I ran into a pretty serious audio problem. I'm going to tell you what that was and how I resolved it. Stay right there. You're going to want to see this. Hi, I'm Mike Turner, your friendly filmmaker, and today I want to talk about audio. Audio which is so crucial to making any type of video or film. It is equally as important as the video itself. So I was shooting a wedding, and as we know in a wedding, if you're shooting the ceremony or the toast, getting good audio is crucial. And the way I do it, and I showed you in a video before, is I like to mic up the officiant and the groom, and I like to hook up to the DJ or the band's mixer to get a live feed from the microphones. So I did all that, or at least I thought I did all that. And what happened is we were set to shoot outside and it started to rain. So at this time I had 2 cameras outside with 2 tripods, a monopod, my audio equipment, and the rains started coming down. So now I had to rush all of that equipment back inside. And in doing this, I had no help because I usually do this as a one-man band type of thing. So I had to get all my equipment back inside out of the rain. I had to dry it off. I had to set up for the ceremony that was now inside. I had to set up my external recorder. This one, the Tascam, I had to set this up to the DJ's mixer inside now. Luckily, I already had the microphone on the officiant and the groom at this point. But what I forgot to do was hook up my receiver to my camera. So basically they had on their packs, but my camera did not have on its pack. So it wasn't getting that audio from their microphones. And I didn't notice it until after we were done. It was just in the scramble of moving all that stuff, I just completely forgot. So now you're thinking, well, what's the problem? Because you said you had this hooked up to the DJ's mixer. Well, I did, but in scrambling, I had a recording, but I had it recording from the microphones, the internal microphones, instead of the external microphones. So I was getting like terrible sounds out of this, and there was a baby crying in the room. It was terrible. It's just terrible audio. So I was like, what are you gonna do? I tried to fix it as best as I could with Adobe Audition, but overall it sounded pretty crappy. And of course, because I made mistakes with the audio, that was the day that the bride and groom recited their own vows. I can't tell you how many bride and grooms do not recite their own vows anymore, but they did. Why? Because that's just the way the world works. Anyway, so what are the tips to getting good audio, right? Well, obviously tip number 1 is you want to get your microphone as close as possible, like I did, using lavaliers. It's good when you have your receiver pack turned on your camera though. So tip 1 is make sure you get your lavaliers on, and then ensure that you have your receiver turned on your camera, plugged in, is working, you can see your levels and everything else is good. Tip 2, which is more important than tip 1, is headphones. Here was the thing that happened. Their lavaliers were on. I looked at my camera and I saw my meters going, so I assumed that was good. I always use headphones. The problem is I had earbud headphones, and in running back and forth, they fell out of my pocket somewhere in the grass and I could not find them. And it was raining and everything else, so I said, forget it. So to solve that, I got over the ear headphones instead. So now when the ceremony is starting, I just put these on around my neck and they just stay there. So that way, if I'm running, they don't fall, they're right here, ready to go. And then you might say, well, what about the wire? You have the wire plugged into the camera. If you're running around, you got to unplug the wire from the headphones each time. No. Not with these. These are actually Bluetooth headphones. So to get around the problem of wires, I just plug a transmitter into my camera's headphone jack, and it sends a signal to these, and I can hear what's coming from the microphones at all times. Let me see, I'll show it to you if I can find it. And here it is right here. This is the Synvitron transmitter right here. So I use this, plug it right into the camera, into the camera's headphone jack, and it transmits to this wirelessly. So now I can move around the room. These are on my neck, and I can hear what's going on at all times. That's just the way I like to do it. Now let's talk a little bit about these headphones. So these are the Avantree Bluetooth headphones. I think the Avantree Bluetooth 4.0 headphones. And as you can see, they're very nice looking. It's one thing I like about them. They got some padding here, some nice padding around the ears. So it's very comfortable. I really like these. They're Bluetooth, so you get like, I think you get like what, 35, 50 feet or something? I don't know what it is. 50 feet of distance or something like that, maybe a little less. But it always seems to work for me. I'm able to move around the church or, you know, outside, wherever I am. And I'm always getting that signal coming into these nice and clear. You know, it might break up a little bit here and there when I get a little too far from my camera, but still, I can still monitor the audio, which is great. So yeah, you know, your basic headphones, they're adjustable, you know, nothing fancy. But like I said, they feel great, really comfortable. They look great. They sound great. They hold the charge for a very long time. It's supposed to be 40 hours. I don't know how true that really is, but they hold a good charge. And they're also NFC. So if you have like a phone, an Android phone, supposedly you should be able to just tap this and it should connect to your phone. I've never really tried that out. I typically just use it for Bluetooth, but there's that as well. So I really like these. I recommend these. And they're only about $50, brand new, from Amazon. So, you know, tip 3 is really always have a backup. Now, obviously in my case, I tried to have backups. I had 2 wireless lavaliers and an audio recorder hooked up to a mixer, and they all failed me. But a lot of that was just because I was rushing too much. And I mean, that was really my own fault. I got too frantic. I should have slowed down, took a breath, and made sure everything was working. It was really hard to make sure things were working because, like I said, I lost my earbud headphones. But I don't know, it was just a bad situation. But normally that doesn't happen. So normally if I have these backups set up, you know, the 2 lav mics, the one hooked up to the mixer, the one audio recorder hooked up to the mixer, I typically never go wrong. But since that happened, I decided to do something else to help myself out. And in a previous video, I showed you that I have this audio recorder as well. And this is the Olympus TM 620. It's a very small audio recorder. And what's nice about it is it comes with this case, and the case actually has a little stand. So you can just stand it up on the floor by a mic, and not by a mic, by a speaker, and just get the sound coming from the speaker. It also has a quarter 20 mount on the back, so you can actually mount this to like a light stand. So if the speaker's high up, you put on a light stand and lift it up in the air and point it to the speaker. So now I use this a lot now. Before I didn't. I rarely ever used to use this, but now this is like another backup. So when it comes to audio, you can't have too many backups. Hopefully you found that helpful. If you did, please go ahead and like the video. Subscribe to my channel for more videos where I'm going to be talking about audio equipment, video equipment, lawnmowers, and beyond. I'm Mike Turner. Thanks for watching, and I guess I'll see you soon.